We are quiet.
Hello.
Our little group of like mostly introverts. All right.
It's hot.
It's really hot.
True. Yep.
Can't tell by my red skin.
It is hitting hard everywhere in America in multiple ways. But welcome to House Rolls, and with that, I don't think we need anything special. I think we can just go ahead and start. So where we last left you guys, you were, oh god, let's see, you were on the ship, and I wrote this out really nice summary, and it's all just going to shit right now. Let's see here. All right, so you guys had to deal with Breck successfully kidnapping Lucian. Then Lucian had a conversation with the Queen Camilio of Camelot City in the Camelot Kingdom. And that was interesting. She made a couple of illusions, and was interested in having a little bit I shouldn't say risque conversation, but risky conversation with you. But that only went so far. Meanwhile, on the ship, Zunrith, Lincoln, and August were still maintaining Medora's hostage situation. August threw some letters, your invitations over the side, kept one, and you guys kind of did a little bit of recon, trying to figure out how to get Lucian out of this situation. You found out a little bit of information from that. Zunrith lost connection with his deity, and has limited powers right now. Then August briefly met with the mistress, however, was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And so the mistress said, okay, goodbye. That's pretty much it, other than spotting Mavis Reed and Jameis Aldarian walking back towards the ship. So August is currently kind of in the background, and Lincoln and Zunrith rather, are both on the ship. What are the two of you doing? You see, like, off in the distance, you've kind of had a little bit of a moment where August left. You're calming down. Do you guys think you would be in your beds? Do you think you would be outside? You know, where do you think you are in this situation?
Well, it's nighttime now, right?
It is, but you guys also slept for most of the day. So you're not really... I mean, you maybe are, like, a little tired. Like, you could sleep another 4 hours and benefit. Because, like, you know, sleep loss is a thing that adventurers go through. But...
Yeah, I don't think Lincoln did any sleeping prior, so I think he would prepare for going to bed.
Okay. It is the night of the 16th of the second month. And, you begin preparing to kind of go to bed. Zunrith, what do you think you're up to?
Ooh. Probably, I think Zunrith is kind of just anxiously pacing. He's kind of taken off his necklace and is just staring at it and walking around the cabin, kind of back and forth. Just doesn't really know what to do after his trance was interrupted by his vision.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'll add, I forgot to mention. So, Lincoln is planning on going to bed, and then first thing in the morning, his plan was to go to the fortune teller's place because it was discussed that Breck was last seen at the fortune teller's.
Okay.
So that was his intention, getting some rest before going to the fortune teller's place to confront his brother.
Okay. Gotcha. So that is on the agenda for the next day.
That's what he's planning to do, yes.
Cool.
But of course, things change, as we see.
Yep. Oh yeah, things frequently change with us. So you kind of make the mental preparations for that. Zunrith, you kind of begin pacing nervously about, and kind of in the distance you can see two figures walking very casually, no, with maybe an air of nobility in their mannerisms and their body language. But other than that, they just seem to be nonchalantly approaching the ship. At this distance, you can't really make anything out. Do you call out? Do you just kind of wait for them to get there? How are you reacting in this moment? And with that, August, are you just kind of keeping like close distance behind and like observing?
Yeah, I'm just observing from a distance.
Okay. So we'll keep you kind of in range, so you do catch anything, any conversation or anything that might happen. With that, you begin to see these figures kind of come into a little bit more of the soft light emitted by a few lanterns that the ship has on it, as crew members are kind of taking a night watch a little bit. They are all kind of on a little bit more guard, as understanding that there is something of a minimal angry mob out there for some of you, and is just kind of keeping an eye on things, despite it being late at night. So there are 2 or 3 of them kind of awake with the lanterns, but those lights are shining down on these individuals, and you can see a woman of like just this extremely supple skin, very, very beautiful, kind of a small pinched nose, large eyes, and has kind of this black hair that's pleasantly waved and curled with a strand to the side and kind of wrapped up in an ornate bun, an ornate updo up top. She wears kind of these maroon and black tones to her clothes, which is an elegant but not overcomplicated dress. Next to her is this individual who has this kind of deep, warm, bronzed skin, on the darker side of complexion, with this kind of rich brown hair tied up in a very voluminous ponytail just kind of to the back. A little bit messier, but still clean looking. You can see he is wearing what looks to be kind of a black coat of sorts, doublet with this kind of white ruffled shirt with red accents throughout. The 2 of them begin to approach the ship and just kind of wave for permission to come aboard.
I take that Lincoln's inside so he doesn't see this.
I think, Lincoln, you're inside. So Zunrith,
Yeah.
you're the only one outside, I think. So they kind of wave over to you. What is your response to them?
I'm not paying attention to them, so
Okay.
no response.
Captain Bellamy kind of comes over and says, "Hi, what do you 2 want?" And the 2 make a brief case, just saying, "We have some concerns we'd like to express about certain individuals that are around town." And Bellamy, well, let's roll for this. Bellamy seems to accommodate their presence on the ship without too much. They come on board, and they begin to kind of express concerns about an individual that, as soon as they begin describing Zunrith, even though you're not really paying attention, you realize they're talking about August. As the conversation kind of goes on, just to kind of sum it up, since there isn't anyone there, they say something about, "I need you to know that the woman you're traveling with is dangerous. She's committed atrocities in the kingdom of Avalon. The king of Celadon was swayed by the Baron to spare her. She was intended for Valanos prison because of the murder she's committed. She's killed innocents even as early as she was 12 years old. The Baron, they make this kind of case for the Baron guiding these uniquely troubled children, but some are simply too far gone. Most people don't know this about the Baron. This kind of taking an angle of like not trying to brag too much. But the Baron's adoptees have birth parents that have all killed themselves. Please consider turning her in to us Avalonian authorities before she causes chaos at the Balder Rebellion. So they express this kind of timeline where they want her turned in before the ball happens. All this just kind of being on side conversation to you, Zunrith. And it's kind of during this moment that for you, Lincoln, as you are winding down for bed, you're beginning to experience a degree of peace that you haven't felt in a while. And as you kind of mull over this in your mind, you realize that there is an absence of burdens you are experiencing, and you being a person who is somewhat attuned to other people's experiences, are beginning to realize that there's a lack of connection you're feeling with Zunrith. Somehow in the last few hours, you realize you're not really experiencing, ever since the necrommunication ritual, there's been this kind of like super subtexted like alignment you've almost felt. It's a weird thing to try and explain in words, but there was a connection there that was just kind of lingering, and you felt it strongest at night. And you recall the one evening in the inn where you kind of like looked at each other and there was like this brief mind meld, and any remnants of that was previously there is now just kind of gone. And in this situation, you realize you're not experiencing his pain the same way you were. Zunrith, similarly, you aren't experiencing the same kind of subtexted emotion from Lincoln anymore. Kind of around the clock, same deals. So, despite the fact that you now are without power and without deific assistance, there's also a degree of like feeling like you're stepping into your own person in some ways on a mental level without the influence of another.
Upon feeling that break, Lincoln will get up and start going around looking for Zunrith.
Okay.
Just checking on him.
I think you find Zunrith relatively easily. It doesn't seem like Zunrith's hiding.
Okay. Are the two people still there, and are they still talking to him?
They kind of, you catch the end of the conversation, this kind of deadline moment. You catch the deadline. They want August turned in by Balder Rebellion for the safety of the citizens, is kind of the last you hear from them. Bellamy looks extremely, like, frazzled and concerned, and just kind of, states, oh, well, good thing she's not here then. You know, didn't have to hear any of this. The crew that is awake enough to expresses some concern. One of them just kind of like glares at the two people like, I don't believe you. I think you're absolute bullshit. But the other two that are kind of awake along with Bellamy are, like, okay, yeah.
Can Lincoln, even though he hasn't heard much of the conversation, can he incite what little he has heard to determine if they've been otherwise forthright and honest, or if they are full of shit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That is, I just call you Mr. Mediocre, 10.
10. They seem extremely earnest. They seem genuinely earnest. There is, in Mavis Reed, in the woman of the two, there is a lack of face, if you will. She is not as well composed a human being. She's very expressive, and there is a slight note of fear behind what she is expressing. That being said, beyond that, whether there is any direct lies or anything, you can't necessarily read any truth or lies off of them, but just a deep earnestness.
Okay. Lincoln will kind of interject. Is that also why you have captured her brother Lucian?
Excuse me. No, we were not aware that Lucian was captured.
Oh crap.
Interesting. Your fourth most of information is most helpful.
That seems odd. You have concerns for August, but not Lucian.
Well, Lucian has a number of, shall we say, things inhibiting him from being as dangerous. Fewer connections, as far as we understand. He does not pose the threat that this August poses.
And if we were to find August, or if she comes back, or comes to us, where would you expect us to take her?
I believe you should take her uptown. Gemus, where should we meet them? You can see, like, she's all of a sudden like, oh shit, I didn't think about where to meet them. Gemus kind of turns over and says, it's quite all right. And his voice is this silky, smooth timbre that just kind of flows out of him. He goes, I think Starry Nights is most to my liking. Have you been there?
Yes, I have.
Lovely. Well, Starry Nights, I believe we will offer you a round of drinks, along with the bounty, should you provide this criminal in due time. Mavis kind of pops up. And just so you understand the amount that we're talking 1,000 gold.
Is this an official request from Huguenot, or?
It might as well be. Considering that I am the fiancé, the engaged of the Baron von Bathory.
Well, congratulations on your nuptials. If I may say, why would the fiancé and not the captain of the guards or some other investigator have this request?
I am deeply involved in the security of not just Huguenot, but, shall we say, Grendivier as a whole.
I feel like I'd be cheating if I incited anymore, if I incite again.
You can insight. I'll let you insight.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna incite. Because the more I'm hearing, the more I'm not liking it. Natural 20 for 21.
Damn. Natural 19. Which is higher than 21, but I do allow crits on skill checks, so you get it.
Okay, cool.
Let's see here. She is not dishonest throughout this part of the conversation. You catch she is involved, maybe a little too involved with security, in quotation marks. Actually, with this natural 20, you note that her hand goes to a lantern that's kind of hanging from her hip. And there are shapes within the lantern, which if you really wanted to investigate, I would need another roll. But there is something really fishy, and due to your arcane attunement, you understand deeply magical about this lantern. But there are shapes kind of ever so gently but quickly moving.
Okay. Yeah, I will absolutely make a check on that if possible. What would be Arcana?
I would say Arcana, Perception, or Investigation. Your choice.
Well, back to mediocrity. 13.
13. You hear, as you kind of stare at it for a moment without trying to attract too much attention, you get like this buzzing from behind of it. And it almost gets to the point where you like, I think I could understand what's going on with it, but it just kind of cuts off. At one point, it's almost like a crowd. Almost heard like a kind of muffled crowd noises from inside.
Well, we'll kind of gesture to the lantern and say, so is that a beekeeper's nest or what is that?
That is none of your concern, Tiefling. This is a royal item, a royal magic item that is deeply important to Ugnaught. You need not concern yourself with my personal items.
Very well. I take it your business is done here then.
She looks toward Gemmis. Gemmis, I think we're done. And Gemmis gonna look. He looks between you and her, and there is this like subtle, like just annoyance with the lack of tact. And he says, "I am gracious for the company you have allowed us to hold with you. I wish you a most wondrous evening. Mavis, let's go. Leave these people to their sleep and their rest, which is of most importance." August, did you make any checks during that conversation? Any insights, any perceptions you would like to roll?
No, I did not.
Okay. They take their leave, and August, as they kind of get out of view, you are free to move around, approach the ship, or whatever.
I'm going to return to that hotel room that Mistress Vale said was available for the evening.
Okay. Oof.
Because I don't think they want to see me on the ship right now.
All right.
At least the captain and several crew members.
Yep. All right. You find rest in that evening. Zunrith. And back to kind of Zunrith and Lincoln. How are you closing out this evening? Lincoln, you originally went to go look for Zunrith.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Zunrith was going to do anything first.
Zunrith was going to... Yeah, he was going to go for a walk around the kind of lower districts and just, you know, kind of staying to the shadows, but just walking around trying to notice anything see, he's trying to take his mind off of what happened earlier in the so
Okay.
he's kind of trying to distract himself. So he's trying to pick back up on the trail of where Lucian's brother could have gone.
Lucian's brother or August's
The
brother?
Lincoln's brother, excuse me. Not
Lincoln's
Lucian,
brother. Okay.
Yes.
I was like, Lucian's brother, there are 5. I need more specific
Yeah.
information.
All the L names.
I know. Yeah, before if Zunith was still on the ship when after they had left, before he leaves, Lincoln would just interrupt and say, "Oh, Zunith, are you okay?"
I'm lovely.
Um,
What of it?
Nothing. I just previously I used to feel a connection with you, and that has since gone, and I wasn't sure if the presence of that woman had caused any disruption. But I still don't feel anything.
Are you coming on to me?
No.
Because, to be quite frank, I'm not interested. You're not my type at all. Too much scales and dry skin and all of that grossness. No offense.
I'm not interested in you.
Right? Well,
I just meant your energy.
to be quite frank, I don't know what that means.
Alright. Very well.
Is that all? Or are you
No.
being bothered by something? Or
No. Well, I am, but it was unusual. I had some just combination of having my brother show up, not knowing a good way to get to Lucian, as well as this this other creature that I don't even know what it looks like. I just heard a voice asking if I wanted it to be my patron. I'm assuming it was some kind of deity, but I don't know. It never identified itself. I just told it to go fuck itself. There's just a few things going on that are very weird and unusual.
yes, I would agree. Probably the best move to not accept a power from something unknown. So
Yes.
you made the right choice, I think.
Well, thanks. But all right. I don't know if you want some company, but if not, I'm gonna go to bed.
I'm just going to check on some leads and I'll be back. So if you want to come, you may, but feel free. Get some rest. I know you other mortals tend to, need your beauty rest.
Yeah, well, considering that you thought that I was coming on to you, I'm not going to follow you around, so you have a good time.
That's probably for the better. Have a wonderful sleep.
Thanks.
A wonderful sleep. What the fuck? What the fuck does that mean? And he's just gonna walk off the ship.
Oh my god. Oh man, you guys didn't feel like repeating a Solanine August awkward convo?
Nope.
All right.
Yeah, and he's just gonna go to back to the slums.
Okay. You make your way to the slums. We're gonna rotate to Lucian here briefly. Lucian, uh, you at one point decide to send for the queen. And it takes a little bit of effort. The guards are not inclined to listen to you, as you are basically a privileged prisoner. And there is all of the security limitation of a prisoner and the dislike of your privilege going on.
Yeah,
but
fine.
you eventually find find an individual who takes a liking to you. You have a few laughs, and they kind of they are able to get the message along for you.
Right.
Seem to be one of the most likable people there. But eventually the queen comes and says, Lyrian has been most gracious in their description of you. Are you fraternizing?
No, it's just my father taught me a while back when that all blood is blood.
Mm.
So, regardless of station, we should expect at least some decency between people.
Well, of course. I think blood only holds what the practice of the family holds. It is why I have been so meticulously guiding my daughter through a number of her own learning processes regarding rulership. And it's at this point that the Queen Camellia, you realize she appears very young, but there are slight lines here and there. And while she is certainly young for her age, you detect a certain amount of wisdom that you didn't detect before. Her short blonde hair, very practically cropped, not in some extravagant hairstyle. And she is wearing, at least in this time, has kind of doffed the casual robes of rulership and has come in kind of this melded, noble, somewhat battle-worn armor.
I was unaware you had a daughter.
Yes. Yes, Elenera. My pride and joy, if you will. She is young and has much to learn, but she has learned quite a bit for her age. In fact, perhaps I was not clear. The night before, I realized I have a tendency to dance around subjects, as is the need for language. And she looks towards the wall and kind of mutters a few arcane words, and this kind of orangish mist kind of washes over the wall that leads to the exit. And she looks to you and goes, I am looking at an arranged marriage when you are back in the seat of rulership.
Ah,
King Caledon is aging, far beyond anything that, well, anyone in this part of the world has survived.
yes. Well, since the true seat of Caledon has actually remained empty and it's just been a puppet, really. I suppose your proposal is well thought out and wise. But you hinted about opposition of my uncle.
Yes, let me be quite clear. I was involved in the power that the Aldous Rebellion had for a short amount of time.
As in, you gave Aldous the means?
I was one of his suppliers, yes.
To what end?
The Baron is... And she goes over to a wall. and picks up a crossbow. And as she picks it up, you can see like she is very familiar with this weapon. And she
It's a
holds it
crossbow.
close. She holds it kind of in a safety position. The Baron has been corrupted by something I know not. He was not always this figure of handsomeness to the public and cruelty behind the walls. And she takes a free hand and kind of waves and conjures a target, aims, shoots. Misses entirely. Hands it over. Would you like a shot while we talk?
Sure.
She hands it to you. Do you prefer heavy or light?
Well, crossbow's not really my specialty, I do say.
I noticed the bow in your things. Almost said inventory.
Ah, you mean this? Conjure bow! This...
Ah, yes, that. We'll take a
Yes,
shot.
Very well. I'll take the crossbow she's using, and I'll shoot it.
Go ahead and roll.
Let me pull...
Don't roll for damage, just an attack.
Yeah.
AC is 15.
Oh.
That's not good.
What'd you get?
Natural 1.
Okay, so as you like go up, you draw the bow with your magic, which conjures into the air magic
I'm using
flying.
the crossbow.
I
so-
know, but you desummoned
Okay.
the bow, and you kind of hold the bow, and you're like, "Oh, this is really fucking awkward." Like it's been a long time since you've trained. Go ahead and remove your crossbow proficiency as you
Awesome.
fire.
Cool. I'll just add that to my character sheet, specifically not proficient in crossbows.
But you shoot it, and like the weight of it kind of tips forward, and you find yourself as you kind of adjust, like you pull the trigger too hard to where you like point the thing down, and it just fires about like 5 feet in front of you and splinters the ground. And she goes, "Ah, wow, that
I
we're
was
both a little rusty, apparently."
Apparently.
She's like, "Oh, why don't you give me that?"
Sure. I'll hand it over.
She takes it and kind of hangs it up.
I'll bring my... Yeah, we'll just... She's hanging it up, then we'll just ignore it.
But yes,
So-
I was part of the means. To what end? Well, the Baron is not fit for rulership. He is fit for leading, but not rulership. He does not possess the perspective and the wisdom to be a good leader, a good ruler. His people have suffered long at his hand. I find his disposition disfavorable. Is that blunt enough for you?
Well, I mean... Of course you would. He is the literal embodiment of gluttony. Especially since he's bored.
Oh, speaking of gluttony, would you like some ale?
Ale?
Yes, the finest.
I didn't expect the Queen to have a liking to such drink, but of course.
Well, I surprise a lot of people. She goes over, and in the hallway goes, "Vandrith! Ale!" Shuts the door. She says, "Well, while they get that, we are completely silenced in here. No one can hear us. It is just us two individuals talking." This whole conversation has been draconic, by the way.
Awesome. Alright. So what do you propose then? Arranged marriage when I come to rulership, and in the meantime...
Well, we have the convenience of two rather noble individuals at this party from Ugnot. It would be a shame if we found a way to cripple their influence. I would like to extend a personal invitation to you and your group to attend the private banquet hall, along with other noble figures in the area, including a Mavis Reed and a Gemma Eldarian.
Interesting.
They dare not come. Everyone comes. You need not make a decision. I'm just making an offer and being blunt. The ale kind of comes back. There's a knock at the door. Ah, finally! Goes and grabs it, and there's like this like nice what do you call it? A growler. Pulls in like a growler, and they give her like 2 steins. She hands one over to you. Guests first. Tell me when.
Great. Yep, we're good. Like, when I have a sufficient amount.
Pours some for herself. Cheers! Alright. As you taste
go ahead.
it, it's brilliant. It is the highest quality you've ever tasted. As I don't imagine you've tasted ale while you were like 8 at Calvin. Maybe tasted it. The quality maybe reminds you of something you've tasted back then. But it's warm, it's deep, it's rich, smooth.
I do have to say I am interested in this proposal, but I am concerned.
As you should be. Express them quickly now. Efficient conversation.
Why this, wanting yourself to ally yourself with Avalon?
There is a growing threat. It manifests in different ways in different parts of this part of the world, but I think it best if all of us individuals of intelligent life, bond together, create some kind of lasting, cohesive effort to fight these things. It doesn't seem that far-fetched. Collaboration makes life easier. Were you hoping for something really long and deep and explanatory?
This power that's rising, can you give me any more detail?
Well, for one, vampires have started showing up.
Interesting.
Undead. There are more reports of hauntings. We largely try to limit talk of that here in the city, but the fact is that it's happening. Especially near Ugnut. There's a couple of docks. A malicious cook spirit constantly being reported about. Yes, lots of undead. Quite a bit of everywhere here in Grendavir, at least.
Yeah.
Blunt enough.
The region of Grendavir has never really been one for clergy, especially under the Baron.
Nope. Not here either. We hate religion. There's one place, and it's like to some offshoot winged elf goddess. It's more of like a mythology center. You know, it's history, it's folklore. But, you know.
Well, yeah. With the rise of all these creatures, maybe taking stock in folklore and mythology may be wise in the coming days.
There was a brief amount of time we thought vampires were simply legend. Most people still do. Most. But there are a few of us, especially in the higher echelons of society, who are aware of the dangers that they propose.
You've given me a lot to think about.
Of course I have. You have the night to think about it. Or more. This is good. She just, like, looks down into her stein.
Well, I think my attendance of that at that party will be most helpful.
Good. Oh, I came in. There was an offer I was gonna. Never mind. Never
Oh,
mind.
no, please!
Never mind. Oh, it was just. I was going to offer up a queen's commission should your party come to the ball. I figure nice clothes, very enticing.
Well, I know at least one member of my party who would be very appreciative of such things.
Of course. The drow.
Oh, I'm just gesturing. I'm not gonna say anything. Perhaps you may give me a number? He's going to ask.
Oh, number. Let's cap it at 200 gold a person.
Person?
Yes. What?
Well,
You're my esteemed guest. You must be
I
welcomed back into society with all the pomp and circumstance, in my opinion. You can
I
tell she's like,
appreciate-
she's making decisions, and she's also a little drunk, and she's
It's getting
offering
there
up a
quickly.
lot.
yes, that is quite a lovely gift. I'd also like to negotiate with you further,
Yes.
should I come to this decision
Mhm.
and agree with you
Yes.
to your terms.
Yes.
Perhaps I'd ask if you could be the supplier to my operation as I move towards our common goal.
Oh, I will do you one better. I will be a supplier in addition to other suppliers I'm connected to.
Lovely. Well, like I said, a lot to think about. And so she opened an exit in the wall
For what?
earlier. You said that
So the wall with the doors was washed over with like an orange mist. It wasn't like she made a new wall. It was like an orange mist covered it, and that serves as like a muffling spell of sorts.
Very well. I think it may be important that I commune with my party and my sister.
Absolutely, bring them here. You have the means. Tell them to come here. I'll give you a room. I will even muffle it for you, so I don't even hear anything.
I have the means, I'm sorry.
Of course. She points over to the Fabrial, the script in Fabrial, the quill pen Fabrial that you have.
Well, let's say the last message I sent may not have been received, so I'm cautious.
Why would they not receive it? It's not like this was funny. I sent Mavis Reed to deliver the messages. That was a whole conversation. It was hilarious. But there's no way that she didn't get them to them. What, did they just like burn them in a fire? Throw them overboard?
That would be ridiculous. I can see that, but still, I would prefer at least some verbal indication that my party is safe.
Oh. Here, give it to me. She takes the Fabrial and again taps the thing and begins writing something on it. And it's not the best writing. You gather of all that the queen has trained in, maybe script was not at the top of her list. But it is informative and explains how to return a message using the Fabrial that they have.
She doesn't want me to leave this room. I'm thinking you're concerned about me running away.
Of course I'm concerned about you running away. You already did it once and you disappeared for weeks, months, years. I'm not ready to have that happen again. We need you.
How do you...
You are a figure. People pay attention to the
Hold
Rhea
on.
name. You have a loyalty base. Your face is important in
Hold on.
this whole
Question.
operation.
Question. How did you know I ran away?
I know things. I have eyes everywhere. Not to mention access to a court of diviners. I mean, come on.
Right.
I'm telling you way too much.
Well, I guess something I am interested in.
Yes.
What can you tell me about Mavis Reed's infant?
Oh, I know nothing. They have kept that lock and key shut. That child has not seen the light of day.
So, but you know it is alive.
It must be alive, otherwise there would have probably been some great mourning. Considering what I know, at least in conversations I've had with the Baron, years and years ago, he's barren. He is a barren Baron. He cannot produce children. Just strange. Magic, maybe. I don't know.
Very interesting. Well.
You have a lot to think about.
Right. I appreciate it. To the pursuit of friendship.
To the pursuit of friendship, my friend. Thank you for letting me get drunk. I don't get to do this very often.
I assume it's mostly frowned upon as the queen of this realm, and sometimes it is important to someone of your stature to cut loose.
Exactly. Figured you'd get it, to be honest. And of all the people, I think I trust you more than anyone else in politics, to be perfectly honest. Oh, so...
Well, a few years on the road and ignoring everyone will do that to you.
I'm gonna restore myself. And she casts Lesser Restoration. And, like, blue washes over. She goes, okay, well, thank you for that. I need to get back to work. I have other things to worry about today. But thank you for this conversation and for the brief escape from the responsibilities of rulership.
Of course.
She snaps her fingers, the spell dissipates, and she leaves. And you are left in the room. Do you have any closing actions you would like to take?
I guess I'll just stare at the Fabrial.
Okay.
And actually, I'll ask the guard if they could send for a courier and a scribe.
We'll say, Esme. Esme is the guard with whom you've obtained favor. And he is happy to get you a courier. I mean, like, come on, that's not too hard. That's a little bit odd of an ask, and, like, sure, there will be security problems, but, you know, we'll figure it out. Gets it to you, and you're able to work on a message if you would like to do that as we shift to the next player.
It's just gonna be a quick line, and I'm gonna tell him where to send it. So I'll.
Okay.
I want to make sure I get this name right really quick though. I need you to send this message to Algan Stride in Calvin. Should be the groundskeeper.
Okay.
I'll be returning for my birthright soon. Prepare my resting place. Prepare my father's resting place.
Type this out for me just so I have it as a reference point.
Sure, I'll just
If you're
send it
good.
to you, or you want it somewhere specific?
You can send it to me, Discord, that works. Meanwhile, August, before you go to bed, do you do anything specific as you kind of take up, hold in that room?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna meditate.
Okay.
And wait for the morning.
Okay. You trance, which is an interesting experience this particular night. As all elves experience in their trances, the melding of memories of past lives, and their current lives is you experience these memories of your childhood, that almost all keep going back to this repeat of this circumstance where Dorian and this other boy got caught, and Jamis, like the memory plays itself over, and it is just this humorous memory and kind of mortifying memory that you have. But Jamis is different. It's something that you were able to glean. There is a lot more confidence in his step. There is a richness to how he carries himself. Something has happened since last you knew him, that he has completely changed in expression. With that, Zunrith, you make your way downtown into the slums. The slums. You begin to walk around. Are you looking for anything? What are you pondering?
I'm going to post up around the fortune teller's shop, and because that was the last kind of known spot that Lincoln's brother was at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna post up, see if I notice anything suspicious or weird.
Okay.
Just watch for a little bit.
You post up by the fortune teller shop. In the fortune teller actually makes her way outside a little bit. Bald head, with kind of these golden purple flecked eyes. Looks over. Can I help you?
He just ignores and kind of walks past like he's not paying attention.
Okay. Open late this eve if you wish for a reading. I suspect it is a night that it is needed. Divinatory works are very close to the works of Celestials.
I'm sorry, are you speaking to me?
She looks around. Well, is there anyone else here? No, there's not. I'm going to answer that for you because I can tell you're sassy.
You are a strange woman.
And you're a strange elf. Living in Camelot, it's like the center of hatred for Drow.
Feel like that's slightly racist. I'm simply looking for someone, that's all.
Oh, who are you looking for? I do know things.
Oh. Do you know about the tiefling?
I know about several tiefling. My best friend is a tiefling. Oh, we went out to drinks just the other night. My body's not supposed to handle it, but it's fun anyways.
And what was this tiefling's name?
My best friend? Drakthar.
No, that's not the one I'm looking for.
He's my best friend, though. You can't have him.
You can keep him. Far away from me, in fact.
Lovely. Oh, so you hate tieflings? That seems a little racist.
Look. I have no business with you. You have no business with me. Enjoy your night.
Oh! Alright. Good luck with your brooding. She kind of like walks inside. The open side's open.
Okay,
Flipped.
are there more importantly, are there windows to the inside?
Yeah, there's several windows. They're kind of stuffed with a bunch of trinkets. It's like a cluttered antique shop mixed with like an incense shop. You know, it's very you know, like it's very like witchy vibes. But you know, like there's a little smoke that came out when she opened the door, but there are windows. It's just very obscured if you're trying to look in.
Okay.
You can
Yeah,
try.
I would like to, without being noticed, kind of peer in to if there are windows around the back, not in the main
Oh, okay.
business portion, but kind of in the back.
Okay, make a check for me. Make a check.
Okay.
Investigation or perception, I think work fine here.
That is a 19.
19. Okay. What are you looking for specifically through these windows? You do find one. What are you looking for?
I am looking for signs of, I guess, somebody being hidden in the shop.
Okay, go for it.
So 19, I guess, is my roll.
You do. Not necessarily hiding per se, but you can figure out that there are a number of signs that point to a second person being in this building recently. If not currently, they're hidden in some unknown corner of the place, because there are a lot of corners of this place.
Okay. I'm just going to try and make myself as scarce as possible and just hidden within. Is this like building in the main of like a thoroughfare, or is it like a back alley that I'm in, or like?
You aren't in you're now in like a back alley. If you're looking through the back window, it definitely would be kind of a back alley situation. There are a couple of buildings. So this is kind of it's semi-residential, it's semi-shopping place. Oh, this is kind of like almost a strip mall kind of vibe. Like there's a few shops here that all kind of, you know each other, but it's mostly residential in this place. So you can see like a few casual houses here and there. There are like 2 businesses to the side.
Cool. I'm going to just try and keep myself posted up and tucked away in this alley for a bit, and just periodically checking to see if I take notice of somebody that looks like Lincoln in the window.
Okay. Make a stealth check. And you just post up there the whole day? The whole night?
For like a few hours.
Okay. Oh, which we get?
That is a. I need to look at my stealth. I'm just gonna roll it on there. 11.
11. You hide. Sort of. You are stuck there looking through the window, kind of keeping an eye out for about an hour before an individual kind of pops up behind you and says, Hey, you headed to the rally?
Oh, what rally?
Queen Camilio has lost her fucking mind.
Sorry, I'm new in town and don't really know who that is.
Queen, literally the Queen of Camelot. Where are you fucking from? Oh, you're a drow. Never
What
mind.
gave it away?
Look, it's night. Normally I wouldn't talk to you, but I think this is important, and you're here, and you should really be partaking in this, because this is about the good and the well-being of everyone here. But the Queen Camilla needs to be dethroned. We're having a secret meeting, and normally we don't let like random people in, but here's the deal: is that
You were literally coming up to a random stranger and asking them to join a rally.
look, I have this great feeling about you, and I think
Are they drunk? Can I make an insight check?
Go ahead and make an insight check.
Or a perception if I can smell it.
Low. It's very low perception check. It is
That's a 19.
Yeah, it's a smell.
Okay.
They are super fucking high. Like,
all right, great.
They're just like, I just have this great feeling about, and they kind of like reach for your forearm. They're like, look.
Please don't touch me with your dirty hands.
Looks at you, looks at their hands.
I appreciate the offer, but another time, perhaps. I'm currently working.
Oh, yeah. Their focus was really diverted to their hands for a bit, and they're walking away. They're like, I've never really thought about how dirty is, and like just kind of walk away. But you do notice that there are a few individuals who kind of like wave to you. Some individuals pretend they don't see you, but you are not well hidden no matter how well you try this evening, unfortunately. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and go to the next morning. Everyone wakes up. Let's do just a quick kind of like 2-minute round of like, what does your day look like? The note appears to, I believe Lincoln is the current one with the letter, about, you know, how to respond and send a message back to the original source. Let's start
I think August threw all those away.
No, you have the one.
She threw hers at you because she didn't know how to
Oh, right. That's
yeah,
right.
I didn't know how to respond, and I told you to figure it out, and then
Right,
you did nothing,
yeah.
so I left.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot
Yes.
about that. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Old man memory.
So you have that, just kind of establishing that. Let's start with Lucian, as the person who's most removed from everybody else. What does your day look like?
I'm hanging out in a room that I can't leave.
Yeah. Do you send any additional messages to the party? Do you call for the queen again? This will be a summary version. So.
I guess, I mean, I'll ask someone just to stop myself from boredom about the ongoings on of what is happening and the general preparations for this, you know, ball.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll look at the guest list.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Look at the guest list. It's a good idea. We'll familiarize ourselves with some of the people there.
Absolutely.
I guess I have to get reattuned to the political climate again, so I should probably do some research.
Okay.
So.
You send for notes. An individual, an Air Genasi attendant is assigned to you. They go by Spark, but their name is Esper XL. Or wait, no, hold on. Esper Exley.
They go by Spark instead of Esper.
Yep. And he's just like, you know, young, like 18-ish, 19, super excited to be working, you know, at the palace. Just this little ball of energy. And he comes over and he's like, "Oh, what books do you need? I'm really well educated. I'm valedictorian of my class. Like, I got you. Like, what do you need?" and you're
need-
able to get.
Yeah, so
resources.
I'll need the guest list, I'll need the political background and the rulership of what everybody at the list does, yada yada.
Yeah.
Pictures would be great. Also, if I could get from the queen, who's supposed to be in the super special private ball meeting
Yeah.
thing, that's who I'm kind of going to focus on, I think.
Absolutely. You take note of the. Excuse me. You take note of the guest list. And no one on there is. I think a few names probably pop up in your brain as a census holder, as there were a couple of people that did relocate to Camelot from Calvin. Recently, you noticed. But there's also you notice Magnus Flynn actually
Yes!
is on the guest list.
Good!
In the private banquet hall, it's classified information, but you have the favor of somebody. And there's somebody named Patri and Viego Ayek. They are representatives of Yevin from the north. You obviously see Mavis Reed and Jameis Aldarian. You see that somebody named Filani Ratha and Ray are visiting, noted as noble refugees of the Underdark, essentially. Then you have Queen Merlin from Atlantis, and that seems to be the most of the private banquet hall, besides the names that have not RSVP'd, which is you see August, Lucian, Lincoln, Zunrith, and
So-
Medora.
The princess is not privy to the private party?
The princess is not invited, no. At least
That's
not in this like banquet hall.
But she'll be at the ball, I'm assuming.
Yes, her name. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. She's in. It's weird. It seems like she's actually going to be kind of taking head of like who's leading the ball in a lot of
Right.
ways. So
Okay, yeah.
This is like
Also, we got questions to ask about the princess. Like, actual age is kind of important.
the princess is 23.
Great. Cool. So, we're good.
Yes. The princess is of age.
I think that's kind of the biggest concern, actually. So.
Not 14, no.
Okay, great.
There is no weird 10 or 20
Well,
year
because
age
she
gap.
was just like, she's still young, but she's very learned for her age. And I'm like,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, well. Okay.
Go ahead.
Great. Also, I guess if I have any other attendance with the queen at some point, I assume at some point she'll check on me or something like that. But is she aware of this potential deal, or is this going to be something sprung on her, or?
You have no clue.
No. I was asking the queen whenever. I'm assuming when she'll probably say hi again.
She expresses interest in you expressing interest. And she says,
great.
we'll plan a little courting, a little visit. At the dance would be a great place for you two to dance.
Okay.
It's such a great place to make a connection.
Fine.
So tomorrow you'll have a chance to visit with the princess.
Shoot, I gotta.
You can see she like sets up like an itinerary for like your grooming and like
Great.
a bath and all these things.
She hands me my formal dance card, which has one name on it.
But yeah, so you do find out some information.
Right. Also, I guess I'll write in the letter. I guess I will write if they haven't wrote back. I'll write. Come to the palace as soon as you can. I'm arranging a deal that will be beneficial to everyone, and it's not coded. I'm not gonna code it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's literally on the Fabrial that Lincoln will see?
Yep.
Okay.
Also, you did receive a message regarding any sort of ways to communicate back. August, what are you doing this day?
Okay, so how many days until the ball?
The ball is the 19th, and it is currently the 17th.
2 days.
Okay, I've got to fill up 2 days.
Just worry about today. We'll do one day at a time in kind of summary version.
Okay. I will pick my relentless focus today as stealth.
Nice.
I'm going to keep it on the down low, and I'm going to go to the fortune teller.
Okay. You make your way over. Zunrith, did you return to the ship, or are you still there?
Oh no, I looked for a couple hours, and then if I didn't see anything, I just went back to the ship.
Okay. Cool. So you are back at the ship with Lincoln. August, you stake out at the fortune tellers. Anything you're trying to glean information-wise?
No, I'm not trying to glean information. I want to see if she buys things.
Oh, okay. The shop seems to have been open throughout the whole night, which is strange, but you get there early and it's still open. You can see like the fortune tellers are awake. She's moving around. She's using the beads to guide her in her blindness to kind of get around. Comes over. Like, yes. What is it you need?
To sell some shit. Do you buy things?
Of course I buy shit.
Okay.
I'm a businesswoman.
Right. What kind of things do you buy?
Well, it depends.
I mean, do you buy mundane things? Do you buy interesting things? Do you buy trinkets? Do you buy armor? Do you buy weapons? Do you buy turnips?
Mostly in the trinkets department. The trinkets, little magic or mundane items are fine. I tend to have a good sense for when things will be useful to me.
Fine. And I touch my dragon tooth earring and I go, "You don't fucking own me anymore." And I take it out and I pass it over to her. I want to sell this.
Real quick, as you remove the earring, you hear this fading roar. Like just this absolute fury that just pangs in your head. And the further the earring gets away from you, the more it fades. And finally, you kind of like, I imagine, set it on like the table for inspection.
Yes.
And it just nothing. And fortune teller looks over it. What have you been up to? My God!
Shit.
That must be an interesting tale. I mean, I know things, but I don't know this thing. Cost, money. Do you want to trade or do you want cash? Gold.
Oh, I want money.
Money. I think, given the power of this item, I'm thinking, 100 gold.
I'll take it.
100 gold. Very well, very well. Here you go. And, she kind of puts over some gold. Please have a look around the shop, if you have interest in anything. Lots of interesting things.
No, thank you. I have other things to sell elsewhere. I'm gonna need directions to an armorer or weaponsmith or somebody will buy that shit.
Okay, let's see here. I don't buy armor very often, but there is a place. Let's see. And she pulls out like the yellow pages of Camelot. She like begins looking down. Keeps looking.
While she's looking, I pull my hair in front of myself. What color is it?
It's black. It's dark.
Cool.
Yep. Also, I think your eyes change color, don't they?
Yep.
There's a couple little mirrors sitting around. One of them in particular pops out to you, and you can see that your eyes have shifted back. What color are they now?
They're brown.
They're brown. And they were blue, right? I see.
They were blue.
So, you have.
They're back to their original color.
Yep. So you have completely shifted appearances back again. And there is a peace. Talk about experiential peace that you feel. It's like the weight of that voice gone. Oh, it's euphoric. So you have that going for you now. You feel like you could do anything. With that, you are free to go about. She actually takes the earring that you had. And I forget, you guys didn't buy Sophiathan's earring, did you?
I'm pretty sure we did.
Did
or
you?
She gave it to us.
Oh, that's right, she gave it. She puts it where the Sophiathan's earring was.
Okay.
So. Yep,
All right.
yep.
So for the rest of my day, I would like to go sell some of my shit.
Okay.
I'm going to sell the chain shirt that I have.
Mm-hmm.
The studded leather armor that I have, I don't even wear it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'll sell those two things.
Okay. I believe the total of that will come to, I believe it's like 40 and 35 by default.
Okay.
So I will get you an amount here in a second.
And the whole time I'm keeping pretty stealthy, like I'm trying to keep to not drawing attention to myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how far word has spread that apparently. Am I wanted, or was it just me, this Reed, being facetious? Like, I'm not really sure, so I'm keeping
an eye out.
as low a profile as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. You are able to do so. As you kind of go throughout the day, you do hear a few rumors. Particularly, again, you kind of hear this repeated rumor of, like, the queen's lost her mind. I hear she's invited a drow to her private banquet, and the atrocity that is that invitation. You also hear let me look at my rumors section. You hear about some poor girl named Mara who was forced by the guards, talking about a lack of casters to supply the barrier against the dragon. It seems to be taken from the slums. Yeah. A couple people think the queen is crazy for thinking that she is bringing Lucian to the ball. Everyone knows he's, like, dead, if not, like, on the other side of the world or something. But yeah, you get a little bit of information kind of that way. Let's shift over to Lincoln.
How much money did I get?
I'm gonna find that out while I
Okay, and this is not the end of my day.
Oh, okay. For sure. Keep going.
I didn't want us to think we're doing a round again and then
Nope, you are good.
me not get to all the stuff I wanted to do.
No, you are good. That's totally good.
Okay. Once I have my money, I want to go to a jeweler and have something commissioned, and I will send that to you.
Okay.
And then I want to go to a tailor and have something commissioned, and I will private message that to you as well.
Okay.
And then I will pay for another night at that place that Mistress Vale had that I slept tranced in last night.
Okay.
And pay for another night there.
All right.
Also, probably take a bath somewhere. I don't know if the place I stayed at or if there's somewhere in the city I can go do that real quick. I probably, like... We've been at sea for a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. There are a few bathhouses in town. You can tell they kind of cater to different clientele.
She
There's
does not care. It's probably better to be somewhere low key.
okay. Go ahead and roll a d. You go ahead and roll a house roll for me.
Okay. I don't know why I bother getting my real dice out when I roll like this. 8.
Okay. You find yourself in kind of one of the hole in the wall places that is nicer with that roll. As you kind of go into the bathhouse, there is, it's not extravagant, but it's nice. It's very clean. There's a number of like soaps you can kind of choose from. And you notice that there are only women here.
Okay.
And as such, it's probably to your liking in more ways than one, but you're able to have a nice, clean experience. Moving on.
I will send you everything and you can tell me how much it costs.
Yes, we'll do that during a brief break here in a
Okay.
moment. So we had Lucian go, we had August go. Let's go to Lincoln. What messages does he receive, Lucian? Oh, you kind of described it. So Lincoln, yeah, just go Lincoln. My bad.
Yeah. So, Lincoln will see the message, basically saying to just come to the palace on the day of. He's going to respond in the Fabrial, first of all, saying, I don't, basically, the other invitations are missing. I don't know where they are. And of course say that this is Lincoln. And he's going to notify Zunrith, kind of wander around the ship and look for him. And he'd also look for August, but August obviously isn't there. So he would notify Zunrith that there is a message that showed up, supposedly coming from Lucian, to just come to the palace, that he has an arrangement that is beneficial for everyone. And I'm not sure if you wanted to roleplay this out, if you want me to just keep summarizing the stuff that Lincoln's going to do for the day.
I think we can do a little bit of Lincoln Zunrith roleplay if you guys would like. Especially since like that'll bleed over into Zunrith's stay a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, alright. Say Lincoln will just go. Looks like we have a message from Lucian here about, he apparently has come to an arrangement that is beneficial for everyone. Nick?
Oh, sorry.
That was Lincoln to you.
Yeah, that was linked to Zunrith about Lucian having a
The message from
receiving the message.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to think over. I'm thinking like a 5 million things at once right now. What exactly are you asking of Zunrith? You're asking him about erasing the message, or
No, he's notifying Zunrith that Lucian has told them to come to the palace on the day of the ball. Yeah, so just notifying him that this is the most
What's
recent
happened.
message from Lucian.
Most recent.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, I thought we were already going to the ball. That was already the plan, was it not?
I thought we were trying to find a way to get him out of it. Get him out of there.
I thought that plan required us to go to the ball. Did it not?
That was not clarified.
That was never discussed, but since we were talking about the ball possibly being a trap, it sounded like the idea was to avoid it at all costs.
So then, what is the plan? I feel like we should have August here. Probably the most important person when it comes to discussing this.
That's a good point. Do you know where she is? I haven't seen her.
No. I don't really have a way of getting in touch with her.
All right, I guess I'll have to. Well, the crew seemed kind of uneasy after hearing the news of her being wanted. So,
Of course they did. They're a bunch of idiots.
um,
If you
that
talk
being,
to any of them,
I
they have nothing going on up here. Absolutely nothing.
only mention it because it might be better suited for us to go look for her and finding a safe place out in the city instead of having her retreat here in the ship.
If they had that big an issue that she could not return here, then they would have already made a stink about it, wouldn't they?
Well, has she
This-
come back?
That unless she has hidden elsewhere. Look, the plan is to get them and get the ship out of the docks. By the time that they realize what had even happened, that shouldn't prove very difficult for these people to do, even if they are intimidated by criminals. I mean, they basically called me their savior and a saint for just a few basic healing spells.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we still can't get the ship out of here yet.
If you'd like, we can find another crew.
Well, I just want to make sure that wherever we take August, that she's okay. If you think that it would be okay back here on the ship, then that's fine.
You guys are leaving? And you have like the really tall human who you've kind of like commanded around is like, you guys are thinking about leaving us?
No, we're simply talking about leaving port at some point. It's okay. You're going to be okay. And I'm going to just pat him on the head like he's a dog. Just straight up, just. It's going to be okay.
You scared me for a moment. I just
So,
I'm gonna go take care of something.
hang on, before you go, has the captain at all been talking about anything regarding our group, especially the one who likes to be a little more brusque and alcohol inclined, if you will?
Well, they were talking about you the other night, and they had some pretty not nice things to say. But
Oh, like what?
just that you were kinda on the mean side. I said they didn't know you. I was like, I think he's nice. He's just. Well, I made an argument for you because I think you're pretty cool.
Well, I very much appreciate it.
Mm.
Is the captain downstairs currently, or?
Bellamy is, I believe he was taking a nap a little while ago, so he might be still napping, but he might be done napping.
Thank you so much. You're such a good help, and I'm just going to pat him on the head again.
He's really enjoying these head pats.
Cool. I'm going to go downstairs to the captain's quarters.
Go for it. You make your way down.
Lincoln will
And I'm
follow.
just... Oh,
Hey!
Captain!
What is it you'll need? For God's sake. And he opens the door. What is it you need?
Just a conversation. And I'm just going to start pushing my way in to the cabin.
Yes, invite yourself into my private quarters, no issues.
Lincoln's gonna stand outside.
Just come in.
Thank you.
Sit! What is it? What? You seem concerned. What's the problem?
I'm a little bit concerned about... Well... I'm worried about you a little bit, Captain.
About me? Why are you worried
A
about
little
me?
bit. A little bit worried.
Yes, continue.
It seems like the past events have been a little taxing on your mind, is that correct?
I handled far worse than this. Well, the dragon. The dragon is new. I haven't dealt with the dragon before, but...
Oh, that has nothing to do with us. It's just hearsay.
Alright. What are you getting at? Are you trying to send me on a vacation or something?
Well, no. I'm just simply making sure that the rest of my compatriots are well taken care of. Still.
I harbor no resentment to you at all. If you're talking about those people yesterday...
I would like to make an insight check on
Go
that.
for it. Go for it. Absolutely.
I'll insight too, if I may.
That's 21.
And 15.
Natural 1. Bellamy is putting on a face, as all leaders have to. They are still concerned about August. You especially, Zunarith, catch that, like, they could probably be persuaded either direction with, you know, somebody really good at talking. Like, have a good conversation and probably could be swayed to one side or the other, but is really kind of at that uncertain middle point. For now, he's just choosing to ignore it. And
Cap, you don't have to lie to. We're here to help you.
Make a persuasion check or deception check. I don't know what it would be in this circumstance for you.
Okay, that is 10 on the dice for 14.
14.
Persuasion, not deception.
Okay. Bellamy relaxes. He kind of says, "Shut the door."
Close the door.
Yeah, since Lincoln was right there, he'll
Yeah.
close the door.
Look, I get that we have a contract to some degree. You're helping us. We help you. I'm a little shaken up about last night. I to be honest, it'd be easier to go there just bullshitting me. And if you can come up with some reasonable argument, I'm like, I won't consider August a worry. But when someone comes up to you and is like, yeah, this was a 12-year-old killing people, you know, you get a little concerned.
Come on. A 12-year-old killing people? How many of those stories have you actually heard that were true?
I mean, and take no offense, but I heard one about a tiefling once. But I've never seen it. It's probably not true.
I mean, I could say that I have it on good authority that your first murder was at the age of 9.
Mine. Yeah.
Just throwing numbers out there. There's no way to verify it.
Right.
Well, that's fair, that's
Exactly. Do you understand? And look, those two, one of them for sure, I distinctly remember being quite a bit irritated. Didn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree, Lincoln? Seemed a little
Yes.
brash. Is a good word.
Well, yes, and she admitted that she's not any part of any security detail, just that she's very invested in the security, which that could be any random patron. And she even said that it might as well have come from Ugonaut, even though she said that it was not officially from Ugonaut. So this is all not official.
She was blunt, but she didn't. I feel like she didn't really give us too much information. You know what? Like, and you can just see like the worry wash away from them.
Why don't you? I know you were we probably interrupted you while you were getting some work, or just take some time, get some rest. We're in town. There's no reason for you to be worrying about anything. Just take some time and relax.
Get off
And
the
we
ship.
will get if you would like. Or you can just stay in your all I'm saying is get some rest and we will be getting to the bottom of why someone's making hearsay rumors about one of our friends.
You know what? That. You know what? You're right. I actually really haven't been in the town yet. I've been stuck on the ship.
Of course, there's so much to do in town.
Janora.
I heard there was a rally the other night. You know?
It's a rally for.
I don't know. The to be quite honest, the man seemed a little bit one of these.
Oh.
To be quite honest, but
you
know
know
what they say is if there are people who are approaching you like that, there's probably plenty of fun to be had in the town.
You know what? I have been working my ass off for years. I have not seen a production in so long. That sounds
lovely.
Really, you know what? That's a great idea. Except, like, he gets like there's a little bit of life back in their body. They go open the door. Janora, to keep watch over the ship, I'm taking the next few hours off. I'm gonna go watch a fucking musical.
And here, and I'll even reach into my pocket and I'll give him. Yeah, I'll give him 7 gold. Here, whatever you need, it's on the house.
Well, I don't know what house you come from, but fucking sure, I'll take the 3 gold. Wonderful. You know what? People give you way too much shit. You're so much nice. Like, I feel like we reached a new area of like connection.
I really think we did.
Okay.
Well, tell me how the show goes, and if you get a little lost on the way back, it'll be just between us.
I like how you think. Kind of gives you a wink back and heads out into the grand experience tourist trap.
Cool. Did he lock his cabin door as he left?
We'll roll for it. Give me a roll. Just a straight up. Actually, give me a house roll. We'll do competing house rolls. We'll see if they locked it.
That's a 6.
That's a 10. So they did lock it. They ushered you out, locked the door, handed the keys off to Janora.
See, nothing to worry about. Nothing at all.
All right. So, for you two, Lincoln, what are you doing the rest of the day?
probably gonna look for August.
Okay. We'll say you do eventually find August.
Can I roll a stealth check?
Oh, that's right. You are hiding.
Oh.
I was gonna be
Uh-oh.
story convenience, but you are specifically hiding, so that actually makes sense. That's fair. Go ahead and roll a stealth check for the day. Lincoln, roll a investigation. I think makes most sense here.
All right. Well, probably doesn't find shit. 12.
Hold on, I'm trying to find my plus because I can't remember it. Stealth. 19.
19. Okay. You search throughout the day and are unable to find August. I will say maybe at one point you hit up the fortune teller shop just as a point that you know is of interest to you already. And she tells you that August did come by earlier. Doesn't mention anything else. But
Okay. Yeah. Just for expediency, if he doesn't find, since he doesn't find August after several hours of looking, then he would go back to the fortune teller and he'd look for Breck.
okay.
But I don't know if you want to take the break or if you want to ask Zunrith what else he's doing. So.
The fortune teller is cold towards you. You notice when you ask about Breck, and just without rolling too much, because she's not a mistress of intrigue by any means, but she does. I mean, there is make an insight check, but she does get a little cagey, about Breck.
7.
The only thing you catch is that at one point she makes an offhanded comment, slighting your patron. Of all the fucking unicorns, he's the worst. So a dislike for your warlock patron is something you catch with her.
Oh, and she actually says unicorn.
Yes.
Interesting.
Of all the unicorns, because I know so many.
She's old. She's experienced. She's seen a lot.
A lot of unicorns.
What do you find so distasteful about him?
Just because we've done a couple roleplay sessions around expediency here, she expresses disdain for his values. And she says he puts his contractors, I guess would be the best word for it. He puts his contractors through a lot of pain and hardship.
I mean, yeah, that kind of goes without saying.
And she
Okay.
and she feels like sometimes it's pointless. But she also is like, I also am not going to spend too much time explaining because I'm not going to convince you of anything.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. After some time, he would just return to the ship since he couldn't find her, and not getting any leads on Breck either.
Okay. Zunrith, what are you up to the rest of the day?
You will probably go back and try and stake out the fortune teller again. He's also going to. I'll say he wants to stake out the fortune teller again, and he wants to see if he can find a temple to like a temple of the moon to what's his name?
Naliden?
Yeah, Naliden.
Give me a perception check or an investigation, your choice.
Say investigation. Why not? I'll take the lower roll.
All right, all right.
I should not have done that. It's an 11.
You
Want to be
ask,
honest.
you ask around, and struggle to find really any sort of religious space. The only one you really hear about is there's this temple to an unnamed winged elf goddess. That is, again, kind of earlier discussed, is regarded as more of a place of historic folklore, a respectful place to reflect on past beliefs that are largely regarded as no longer true by the population of Camelot, at least. It's really the only religious order. You do overhear a conversation of people talking about worshiping Naliden, but no like religious order or space of worship, other than maybe like a household shrine that somebody has.
But there's like, besides this one temple, there's no religious anything in the city?
No. This is a very religion-less city.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
It's very much the vibe of, we are so smart, we have access to pre-cataclysmic magic and technology, and like we don't need no god.
I see. Yeah, I will simply then just keep that information in my brain, and yeah, I'll just kind of spend the rest of my day. I'll stake out the fortune teller for a little bit, and then go back to the ship and just pace a lot again. Just wear a hole through the ground and just kind of keep to myself a little bit.
Okay. As you go throughout the day, there are a few moments where you kind of like catch Lincoln in the distance, I want to say, as you guys did kind of go to the same places, primarily the fortune teller shop, but in those brief moments you can feel like, I guess, like, I would say a hand, but it's more of a hoof, or maybe even a horn, like kind of reaching out to you. And this Lincoln hasn't shared a whole lot, I think, about Alphega, but it's shared enough for you to understand that this other lunar celestial being is reaching out to engage in maybe a little bit more defined kind of contract instead of a faith-based practice.
Interesting. I'll also keep my eyes out. I'm not like really intensely looking, but I'll keep my eyes out for August if I see her at any point throughout my walking around the city.
Okay. Give me, let's see, a perception v stealth.
21.
24.
Oh. Ooh, jeez, man.
15.
Nice.
You do not spot August. As we kind of get to the end of this stretch of the day, is it safe to say that everybody does head back to the ship? I know my hesitation is August.
Yeah, Lincoln already did.
Yeah, you and Zunith headed back. August, do you head back to the ship? Or do you, I guess you try to gather information. You did, among your rumors...
I wasn't actually gathering information.
Well, but like you did say that you were going to try to feel out whether other people are talking about you.
I guess, yeah.
You hear no one's really talking about the things that Mavis talked about. There is there is a rumor about a dangerous group of cultists, including a half-elf, 3 dark elves, and a tiefling, that have come to Camelot City. They left a wake of 6 ritualistic murders at Oaklings in the slums of the city, and who knows what they're up to.
Do I hear this as I'm walking around the city too, or is
I
it
think
just
all of you hear this rumor at some point. Including Lucian, who the queen is too happy to tell you and is like, you should get them here. They're safe here. Like, tell them to come now. Let's just have a fucking party.
Well, I mean, I did, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that message is about, so you do hear that. August, does that influence any changes you make?
Nope.
Okay.
Still going back to that one room.
Okay. You go back to the room, and we'll go ahead and take a break here. So we'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll see you guys very shortly. And welcome back. We unfortunately have lost Nick to a tragic cat throwing up right now. So we will not have him for the rest of session, but we have a little less, don't have a ton of session to get through. So going on ahead, we have the next day. You all wake up in the morning, Lincoln and Zunrith together, Lucian and August. I think for the sake of the storytelling, I think we can do you guys have any day downtime activities that you are very important, or do you end up at the palace early?
I have a few things I want to do.
Okay. And do you as well?
No, Lincoln would probably just go to the palace early since
Okay.
Lucian said to arrive as soon as he can.
Cool. August, what are you up to?
I want to go find this. I think her name was Mora, or their name.
Okay.
The one who was like holding the barrier against the dragon.
Oh God, that was a long time ago. I definitely.
You also mentioned it yesterday. Like 30 minutes ago, when I was having my yesterday, you mentioned one of the rumors that I heard was they took some spellcaster.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mara. Yeah. Mara. She. Her. Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm caught on now. Yes.
And we don't have to roleplay it or anything. I just kind of wanted to see if I could find this person and check on the status of the dragon now.
Oh, God.
See what the dragon's up to.
Oh, man.
The person holding the barrier against the dragon might be the best person to ask.
Oh.
And since they don't seem to be a guard, they might be more willing to talk. Since they seem to have been recruited against their will, or...
Yeah. We'll say, for the sake of brevity, we'll say you spend about half a day kind of like... You kind of have to scheme your way to find information. But Mara, you do eventually kind of find yourself next to Mara, who is posted at one of the crystals. You can see there are a number of spellcasters here, of different kinds, different disciplines, and capacities that are all they look to be just casting a kind of group spell together. They're all following the same lines. You can see that some people are definitely, even in just the way that the energy manifests in the sigils that they draw in the air, is more vibrant, and there is probably an indication of these people are probably more experienced with drawing upon more power. But you do find Mara, and there are breaks, and you kind of insert yourself into a conversation with her, of which she is very surprised to learn that you are not a spellcaster and you are in this area. And we'll just say that your thief skills, and noble know-how have gotten you this far. What is the specific information you are looking for again?
I just want to see what's going on with the dragon. Like, is the dragon still attacking? Where was the dragon last seen? Is it still trying to breach the city? Can
So
she tell?
yeah, what she's overheard from other experienced casters is that the dragon seems to have come back every 4 or so hours, but the dragon has not been seen in the last 12. Um, there is a noticeable change in the dragon's appearances. Some people are hopeful, some people are like really cynical about it, different perspectives. So that's going on with the dragon. She also talks like talks about how it was originally a volunteer thing, but they raided the slums for a couple of people from her side of town, just because they can, and if you can't get enough people to do the job, that you think is first priority, you're going to go pull from the people who are the least defended. And she talks about one person, doesn't know if they were hired or if they were taken, but they died doing the job because of how much energy they put into the crystal. So it can be lethal, but yeah. Is that
Right.
Is that enough information?
Yes, I just kind of wanted to see what changes there were in the dragon situation now.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent you the other thing I wanted to do.
Ooh, okay. Sneaky
And those
messages.
are the only 2 things. It's our version of whispers.
Oh, oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're able to do that real quick. Lincoln, at some point, a courier shows up and says, I have a package, a parcel, if you will, for Curlin/Dorian.
Oh, well, I can take it for him if you like.
It says specifically to ensure it doesn't touch anybody else's hands. I know it's real fussy. Can I just be directed to this Curlin? I like Dorian's easier to see. What area is he from?
Well, why don't you ask him? And he gestures over to the pit dragon.
You just point over and he's like, he kind of like walks to the side and looks behind the dragon. Is like, where's Curlin?
You're looking at him. Is your name Curlin?
He kind of looks over and is like, and kind of like sidles and like with trying to like not get close to the creature, because it is not a pretty creature. It's pretty gross looking in a lot of ways. And he kind of like slips the box, and you can see that the creature kind of like snaps its hand and go, to kind of like cause a little bit of a jump back, pulls the box in, and like the creature just kind of sits with its wrists kind of crossed over top of it,
Curlin, did you need help with that?
Kind of takes like a tooth and tries to use it like a letter opener. Is not successful. Is just and just kind of like defeatedly like pushes the box towards you. The courier looks and goes, "Well, a job is a job, I guess," and just kind of walks away.
Thank you.
No, thank you. God.
So he will kneel down near Curlin, and he will just he'll open the package carefully, and he will even angle and kind of tilt the box so much as so Curlin can see inside, but Lincoln does not look inside.
Okay. Um, yes, and Curlin kind of takes it over, and you can see he kind of looks it over, and there's like there's a softness in his eyes, and he just kind of like pulls it close, and like again, kind of rests the paws on top. Becomes very protective of this,
Okay.
whatever's in here.
All right. I'm sorry to leave you behind, but unfortunately you weren't welcome, or you weren't invited to the ball. But I'm sure. Um, but um, I wish we had developed something more sophisticated for us to talk. So I could ask if there was anything I could bring back for you. But yeah, just be safe and stay out of trouble. He'll like lean in and kind of give him a bit of a, not an embrace, but like a light hug.
Kind of does like the body lean into you kind of deal. And the affection is reciprocated to some degree. But you make your way doing. You said you go. Do you just make
then
your way
he's
to the
going to make
palace?
his way to the palace.
Okay.
Yeah.
You make your way to the palace for the sake of brevity. The guards are like really weirded out. There's some confusion in the process. As you didn't send like a note to Lucian saying when you were coming. But you do know that like these are, this is how to get their attention. Queen sends for somebody. You're kind of okayed. You actually get okayed by Elenara, and you can see that this woman is she's very short. She's shorter than the vast majority of like the Camelot population. But there's a little bit of a sass to her, and a playful attitude. While also moments of like this kind of seriousness, as you do get the chance to kind of talk with her as she escorts you to the room where Lucian is being held.
Sorry to interrupt. Short for a human, or is she like halfling / dwarf short?
She's a
like...
human.
Okay.
She is human, but yeah, short for a human. That's a good
Okay.
question.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, probably around like 5 foot 5'2" ish, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And she has some serious muscle. She's not like muscle bound or anything, but like she's clearly somebody that is very physically active in whatever practice that whatever form that takes.
Okay.
She wears a rapier at her side, and she has kind of this waist length blonde hair that is kept in like this really intricate braid. There are a couple of gemstones kind of woven throughout it that are all family heirlooms. And each one kind of has a story, but she tries not to bore you. But yeah, that's kind of her.
I take it she introduces herself as Princess Elenara.
Yes, yeah. She introduces herself. It's like, this is such an odd, like, she's very approachable. This is an odd place. What are these people? We're inviting them into our home, like not in a bad way, just like this is something I haven't experienced before.
Would Lincoln know of any customs or appropriate etiquette as far as addressing the princess?
Give me a charisma check. We'll see how that fares. Just a generic charisma check.
Uh, 13.
You present yourself in a way that you believe is Camelocian, and she gives you like this like really awkward like, that's a lot. But then she releases to go like, she's just messing with you, and takes you back. But it's a good laugh. She's like,
Sure.
Formalities, dumb. I want to do away with them when I'm in charge. That kind of thing.
I can appreciate that. Thank you.
So, You have a good time. She leads you back. You meet up with Lucian. August, do you head to the palace at the end of the day, or do you just wait for the ball to happen?
I am waiting for the ball to happen.
Okay, Lucian, what are you up to today? Lincoln meets you about mid-afternoon, but do you do anything before then?
I'd like
Your date?
Lincoln. Where is everyone else?
Um, well, haven't been able to find August. There were
What?
two people who came by the night before last, and they had told us some stories about August, about about her past. Um, but she has not returned to the ship since. Um, but they were looking for her. I have looked all over, and I've been unable to find her. But she seems to have a way of keeping herself hidden. Um, Zunrith isn't. Zunrith is on his way. He's just dealing with a little bit of puke.
Interesting. Well,
I think one of the crewmates threw up.
that's interesting. He'd involve himself with something like that as opposed to being disgusted and walking away.
I think it got on him.
Oh,
Well, it
Makes
sounds like
more
a
sense.
person very, very oriented by surface. I mean,
who's
that's a good
speaking?
quality. This is Eleonara.
I
Eleonara.
haven't even been introduced to this lady yet.
We'll say you guys. We can give a little brief brunch moment to you here if you like.
Sure, like a rewind
Yeah,
kind of before
yeah,
this
kind of a
happens.
rewind. Yeah.
Okay. So
So,
okay. So brunch.
So yeah, you're groomed, and there is an attendant who advises you in the selection of the perfumes available. They they have any manner of attire. They kind of let drop that Elenera's favorite color is red. But it's
I mean, pretty sure that's color of my house anyway. So whatever.
They say there's like this moment where they go, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know." Imagine, crazy, and you get.
Well, now I gotta look it back up because I'm not 100% on that. But yeah, whatever.
When you first introduced your character, you were wearing red.
Yeah, that's
and red
right.
was a
Well-
pretty thematic color for you early on.
Well,
don't know
yeah,
why.
that's because it's the Bloody Baron.
It might be the Baron's color.
It's Baron's colors.
But red does get worn a lot in Grandevere.
Yeah,
So-
he made us wear all white, right? With red
Yep.
accents.
Yep, all white, because we were the perfect children, a symbol of purity and sophistication,
Mhm.
and that went well.
But Elenera shows up. I just let's just briefly talk through how stiff are you? How stiff are you when this date starts?
In regards to what?
Your choice.
As in, I'm nervous and
Like, yeah, like how seized up are you in your mannerisms?
This is an interesting thing for me that's going on,
Okay, yes.
and it's awkward. And I wish August had gotten here sooner, but she's not here because she knows very well that of all the children, the Baron would not allow me to court at all.
Oh, true.
So, yeah.
You're
this
like
is-
10 years behind.
Oh yeah, I don't
Oh man.
know what to do.
All of its theory, if that.
Yeah, so I'm just going to be alright, put on court face. I guess I'll try to refresh on my nobility, but I've also developed habits over the last couple of years, so we'll see what goes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, so we'll find out as it goes.
Mm-hmm. Give me just a general charisma check.
General charisma check. And this will define my potential marriage. That sucked. That's a natural one.
Out on my other screen, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Okay, so it starts off, and you're like, "I think I'm doing okay."
You know what? Hold on. You know what?
Are you
I
inspirationing?
do because I have my one con inspiration for
Oh
for
my
the day.
god!
We're gonna use it. This seems important. So that's an 11. That's better.
Okay.
Okay.
Um.
That was a scary nope.
That actually probably was a wise decision here.
Yeah.
The day goes well. It starts off really rough. It's very much like the weather is nice out, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
like-
I'm gonna start off with just your formal nobility, short talk, that kind of
Mhm.
stuff, and obviously it's not where I'm comfortable anyway, so I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll get to something else.
I would say about this is so specific, but like I would say like 5/8 of the way through, like just past the halfway point by a little bit, there is like there's a softness that comes about, and she begins to kind of like tease you, and she's like, "Oh, it's not often that I see like a man in earrings, it's not a common thing here. Like, do they mean anything?" And
I don't know if you want to do earrings for the softness part of this conversation,
well, I mean,
but
like
I'm sure I get it.
yeah, it starts to like she
yeah.
lightens up, she eases up, and maybe like she is somebody who is predisposed to talk depth. So like if you got super deep, she would totally go there with you. So she asks you the question. It's kind of open. There is an ease in the air that wasn't there for a while. It took about 40 minutes to get there, but you're there
Yep.
now.
Yep. Well, the earrings were something that were impressed upon me and my siblings under the household of the Baron. All of them are unique and individual to each of us, and there's some meaning to them. But there's also a lot of pain and suffering, and so that's why I think I keep mine on, because I need to remember my siblings.
She kind of looks down. Um, you know, uh, I actually completely get it. And she pulls her hair forward over one shoulder and kind of feels around the gemstones. This one. Kind of pulls it out. Each one of these gemstones represents a significant moment in Camelot history. This one was a disaster of leadership. It was a failure to acknowledge the importance of providing a safe and good space for the people. This one happened about 120 years ago. There was a rebellion, and many people died. This is a reminder to put the importance of the people as high on the priority list as possible. She kind of reinserts it back into her hair. And you can see there are about 20 gemstones. And she briefly explains, it's a part of learning the history of the crown. Are these gemstones that the princess is to wear once she's mastered the knowledge of the past, to bring with her into the future.
And does the queen also wear these, or are they passed on?
These are passed on. The crown, whenever there is a significant point in history that the scholars believe is worthy of part of the royal passage, the crown gets altered and a gem gets added. And she basically describes that the crown is actually it is the binding of all these gemstones, which are cut by the same craftsperson at the time who cuts the gemstones. They are replicas of each other. So the crown that the queen or the king wears is the same. They are the same gemstones as the gemstones that are worn by the prince or the princess in training, essentially.
That's wonderful. I think that having a strong family legacy and tradition is something to aspire to. Sometimes things are messy, and you want to pull yourself away from them, but you still have to keep going, even if you run for a while. And eventually, you have to deal with things that you inherit.
Inheritance. That is a heavy word.
Insight. Yeah.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm. 7. I'm great at rolling today, guys.
I mean, she seems...
I should have just spoke. I shouldn't have rolled.
I mean, she seems pretty straightforward. It's not really it's not so much of a, there's something super deep and hidden behind this. She briefly, just like, things that you are aware of, the responsibilities that you have ruling, a space. And like,
We're supposed to have.
Yeah, supposed to have. And you catch, there is language that suggests she is trying to balance the taking care of the self and taking care of the other people for her, and that is very much, that seems to be kind of the first and foremost lesson of her life right now, is where to set those boundaries, but also to always give the space, even if she is not capable of holding space for every single person, figuring out ways. And she has some interesting thoughts about providing spaces to take more citizen complaints and stuff like that. Some of which are probably a little on the impractical side, but such as the idealism of youth.
Ugh, I feel like an old person now.
But
I mean, we're basically the same age.
I know.
A little older, but ugh. Well, okay.
The date goes well. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah.
You learn a little bit of information at one point. On your 11, I'm gonna say you knock over wine, but you splash it onto yourself and not her, and it's past the point of like too much. It's more of like it was just oh god.
I'm sorry, I haven't been formal in a while. Oops. Yeah.
And she kind of chuckles.
Right.
She's like, that just means you've spent more time among the people. Nothing bad there.
Yes.
You can tell, like, she's taken a liking to you. It's not like it's not anything that's like, oh my god. But there is a chemistry, and there is a palpable similarness to you two.
That's nice. Now, here's the question: was this meeting set up with her knowledge of this potentially happening, or it was just a courtier situation? Oh, you have a suitor here.
She admits
I'm
that
not going to August.
She admits that it was sprung on her. She, this was not necessarily anything she was prepared for. And we'll say that, like, as you have a conversation later in the day, she was like, yeah, I talked to my mom about it. And she was like, I just wanted you to be natural. Like, she's like, I didn't want you to be prepared. I wanted you to just go be you. Was kind of what her
Okay.
mom's approach was. And she was like, you know what? And it kind of worked. Um,
At least it wasn't a 1. Jeez.
the one would have meant you offended her. Like,
Awesome.
pretty severely. That's what
Great.
that would have been. But yeah. So it goes well. It's just a first date, but it went well. August. You did your things today. David,
Yes.
Lincoln made your way in. Lincoln, is there anything as actually this is something that the court dresser, I forget what I named him, approaches the two of you, and we'll say Zunrith is here, maybe we'll give him a moment to roleplay that because we are reaching close to the end, but this individual wearing a dress, you see a little bit on the curvy side. She has this kind of bob hair, actually. Is this really clean cut kind of A-line bob. I don't know if A-line is the right word, but she comes over and is just looking at you. Darling, you need to get fixed up. This will not do. Oh my goodness. Let me take you to the closets. And begins taking the three of you over to the men's wardrobe, which you have from now till next session to decide and design your attire, I think.
Okay.
August, do you have anything spicy you do before the day of the ball? No.
Anything wild?
No, I don't know what is
Got it.
on Cal's mind, but I
Got anybody crawling in your windows?
apparently not. I think I have a windowless room.
On the ground floor.
But I was about to say, where are you staying at the same inn?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. At the inn, the third night in a row, there was a woman that you had briefly interacted with at the bathhouse, who has kind of a, she's got this really short cropped, textured kind of medium length on the top. It's not an undercut so much as like it's a nice blend. She has kind of it like swooped off and back. It's really well coiffed, actually. And she has kind of this a couple slits through one of the eyebrow and kind of a little bit of a tattoo that dances its way down her neck, and an earring on the opposite side that is kind of like a little wing shape. And as you're kind of preparing for the evening, she sits next to you and goes, all right, so I'm just gonna say it, but I think you're fucking cute. Can I buy you a drink?
Sure. Yeah.
What do you want? What do you drink?
Usually wine.
Wine, white or red?
Red.
I knew I liked you. Can I have a cap? And the bartender kind of comes over, a masculine half-elven individual, wearing kind of a nice, almost like an opera coat kind of deal, comes over and pours out some red wine and says, you two enjoy? This is the finest from Glinth. And leaves the two of you to talk.
Is this lady playing me? Is she trying to pickpocket me?
Make a perception check.
Is she like a bounty hunter
Insight
and
check.
she's like, I know this bitch is on a wanted poster? Natural 20.
Natural 20. No. And like it's in this moment that like you feel so on top of your feet. You're actually catching 2 other people in the room getting pickpocketed right now. Like you're watching it happen in a different part of the room, and it's the same situation where like people are like, "Oh, hey, hot stuff," but like they're actually stealing, and she's not. She's just kind of sitting there, you know, looking over. She has these like these kind of brilliant green eyes with kind of these silver flecks in them almost. And she's an elf. Little bit more of kind of a medium tan skin tone. And she looks over and says, "Funny enough, I'm actually from Glinth. Where are you from?"
Round.
Round. Very specific. Well, what are you in Camelot for? Unless you grew up here, and Camelot is around.
No. No, just the ship I was on needed repairs, and then the dragon barrier thing went up, and I got stuck.
Hmm.
But I hear it stopped attacking for at least a little longer than normal, so I'm hopeful that we can get the fuck out of here soon. Don't really like this place, no offense.
None taken. I've been wanting to get out of here for quite a while. Also, do you carry around a sword with you everywhere? She like her eyes go to your rapier.
In the bad parts of town, certainly.
Practical. I can admire that. Yeah. I don't know, Camelot's been kind of going to shit lately, so I don't know, I'm thinking
That's
about somewhere
probably
else.
the happy gas that they're pumping in on everyone. It probably does some shit.
Well, I mean, we do have the highest, we actually have the highest life rate for humans, I think. At least in the
I
other
mean, that's
areas.
great for artificial happiness coming in, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be nice to just get somewhere without that fakeness.
I think that's basically everywhere except for Camelot. This is the only place I've heard of doing that.
Fair enough. Do you have anywhere that you want to go?
No, I can't say I really know Camelot. I've only been here a little bit.
How about outside of Camelot?
I can't
Just
fucking
anywhere.
go there, can I? There's a fucking dragon.
Well, yeah, but hypothetically.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it.
Interesting. Well, if you fence, I'm god awful, but I'd be down for a little bit of a spar, a duel if you're down.
Oh, no, thank you.
No, not your thing.
No, not really. Not anymore. Just use it if I have to. Don't really want to show anybody up either.
Oh,
What?
She's confident.
Sometimes.
It's good. Everyone should be confident. Yeah. The conversation stretches on a little bit. I imagine August is a little awkward and cagey with some information.
Yes.
She is persistent. And do you want to roll to see what you might reveal as the conversation stretches on? Or do you want to just make that decision?
I would like to make that decision.
Okay.
She's not really drinking right now.
Okay.
She takes little sips of the red wine, but she's not really drinking much right now.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not getting too loose-tongued.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it stretches on for a little bit of time. She makes a lot of jokes about where she's from. She seems very comfortable. Her comfort zone is kind of making fun of herself. Um, but there is a pressingness to find out more about you. What does she learn out of curiosity?
She would learn that my first name is August.
Mm-hmm.
Do not talk about my last name. She would know that I'm 22, if I recall correctly. I would assume she knows I'm from somewhere in Grendavir because of the accent.
Mm-hmm. She makes a few guesses. It's kind of a fun like a fun little game.
But I never get super specific about it. You know, that I've traveled around a little bit. That I'm kind of a nomad of sorts, I guess, right now. I don't really have like a base or live anywhere. That I came on a ship. That I have lots of siblings, but I don't really talk about them that much. Just, I'm sure at some point we kind of talked about family, and I just talked about having a lot of brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And I just keep it very surface level.
Yeah. You also learn a little bit of information about her. I mean, she already says she's from Linth. She makes fun of her name, which is like, she's like, it sounds, you know, what's the word? Prestigious as fuck. You know, she's like, it's Linois, but just call me Lynn. And she also talks a bit about her family. I'm gonna roll to see what she reveals. She loves her family, but everybody is weird. Everybody's into some really weird shit, at least it's societally there. She talks about how, like, you know, one uncle practices necromancy, you know, which is like really frowned on where she's from. You know, another family member is like really into the studies surrounding aquatic sentient life, and just, you know, weird, you know, kind of like off the wall, not like crazy weird, but just kind of quirky. It talks about how kind of it's very restrictive society back where she's from, and that kind of stuff. As much as Camelot is better, she's sure there's a better place yet. But yeah, I think. Do you imagine that the conversation goes anything beyond conversation for the two of them?
It does not. August is not used to just random strangers coming up and flirting with her, especially women. She has no fucking idea what's going on.
Absolutely. That's entirely fair.
And she rolled a good enough insight check. She knows she's not being pickpocketed, but she's still like really like put out of her comfort zone, and she's like, is there really nothing going on here? Am I really not being like pickpocketed or scammed, or you know, is there like a hidden camera and I'm on a prank show? Like, there's very much that atmosphere of like, what the hell? And just kind of suspiciously keeping everything at an arm's length. Like, she's still like, maybe she is a bounty hunter.
Okay.
Maybe she's trying to extract information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I know she's not, but this is really weird.
As the conversation closes, she offers to walk you back to your room.
It's okay. I know how to get there.
And she kind of shrugs it off and waves you goodnight.
I only go to my room when I know she's not seeing where I'm going.
You dart through like the various hallways, going a different way than you went before.
Just making sure I can't be tracked.
Fair enough.
Technically
absolutely.
in hiding, so.
But
I don't need this bitch reporting back to Mavis Reed or something.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. So you have an evening, and the next day, is the day of the ball. So we will do a little bit of that next session. You will need to be introduced and kind of promenaded through the entryway, especially as esteemed guests. So be thinking about what title you want. Be thinking about your clothes. For the dudes who were off to the closets of the royal family.
The dudes who are off to the closets.
Yes, multiple closets. That I mean,
There's been a very, very interesting choice of words this entire session. I'm just saying.
Fair enough. Well, with that, we will see you all next week. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Thank you.
See ya.
Good night.